Hi, my name is Davin Senvik, and we're going to be going over survival skill number 11, which is 5 ways to disinfect water or to purify water while you're in the wilderness. Now, in case you don't know who I am, my name is Davin Senvik with The Catch Today, and we're creating this series because it's in our survival skills series, 12 survival skills everybody needs to know. If you don't know why we're making this video, then go ahead and watch that video for some context. It'll explain everything, but without any further ado, let's get right into the content because this one is detailed and we've got a lot to go over. So, we're going to create 3 different categories for purifying water. The first category is going to just simply kill viruses, bacteria, protozoa, things that can infect the body and kill you or make you extremely sick. The step 2 is going to be to also filter out sediments, heavy metals, other toxins that are not necessarily dissolved into water, but are in water and are nearly unavoidable because they exist in almost every water source that you're going to find. And so anything that can filter those out is going to be a step 2 water purification method. Step 3 is going to be to remove things that are distilled things in water like salts. Now, distilled solids are the most popular thing that we're going to come across in the wild. However, at the very end of this video, which is going to take some time to explain, we're going to go over some urban problems that could be in your water, some urban solutions, things that are dissolved into your water that you're going to have to take extra precaution for, even in a level 3 style water purification method. So, with that being said, let's get right into some of the preferences as far as what makes a system a good system. So people prefer systems that are lightweight and mobile when they're backpacking. That is the most important thing, right? So if they're lightweight, mobile, easy to use, that's the best thing. Also fast-paced, right? Some people really value their time. They're going to be in a vehicle, and so really weight isn't a big necessity for them, but they care about their time and how effectively it's used. Same with backpackers too. Backpackers care about their time, but the mobility is the most important one. So how lightweight it is. The third thing is how sustainable it is, right? Could you use renewable resources in order to sustain this water source for a long period of time, weeks, months, years? So with that being said, let's get right into the first 3 methods, which are all tier 1, right? So these are all going to kill bacteria, protists, and viruses. So I'm not going to mention that for all 3 of these, just for the sake of saving time. So chemical treatments, boiling water, and UV light, right? All level 1 kind of kill the bacteria style water treatments. So a couple of examples of chemical treatments are 8 drops of 6% bleach per gallon or 6 drops of 8% bleach per gallon, right? So just remember that 8 and 6 rule and you'll be good per gallon on bleach. You can also use like the potable aqua iodine tablets. You're going to use about 2 tablets per quart. However, each tablet company creates a different size of tablet, so read the instructions on your tablets to make sure that you are using iodine correctly in order to treat your water. So that's a couple of examples of chemical treatments. There's more out there, but let's get into some of the pros and cons. They're very lightweight. And so for a backpacking trip for a couple of the days, these chemicals are not going to build up in your system. They're going to treat your water. They're going to keep you from getting sick in the backwoods. They're very, very good for that. They're also very fast acting, which is why I think some backpackers and campers use them, especially on the go. So they're great for a couple of these reasons. The problem comes with sustainability. Now, you could carry a lot of chemicals, potentially last you for weeks or even months. However, again, like we mentioned earlier, those chemicals are eventually going to build up into your system, and you're going to get to a point to where, either you're going to just not like the taste of the water, or eventually you're just going to get some poisonings from your own chemicals. Now, it does take a long time for those poisons to build up, but I figured it's just something I would mention, but still, you could, in theory, just carry more chemicals and increase your supply, but then you're adding weight to your whole pack and bulk and all those things. So realistically speaking, chemicals are low on the sustainability scale because they'd be very difficult to keep using for months or even years. Now, with boiling water, it's very high on the sustainability scale, right? As long as you have a container that can hold boiling water, right, and be heated up by a fuel source, you can continue to boiling water as long as you can find fuel. Now, you're gonna have to also carry fire starting materials in order to boil water. This adds a little bit of weight, but isn't the end of the world. So boiling water, fairly lightweight. It does take some time because you have to start a fire or use propane or use some type of a fuel source. And so you can either make it fast or you can make it sustainable. Can't make it both. So either way, you're gonna have a little bit of time struggles on it, but it is very sustainable. As long as you find a quality source of water that is low in sediments, heavy minerals, heavy metals, and doesn't have any salt in it, you should be good to boil water for a long period of time. Next one we're going to go into is into UV light, and I think a lot of backpackers really like this one. UV light is great. It's very fast, all right, just like with using chemicals. It's very lightweight, very easy on the go. Unlike boiling water, though, it does rank pretty low on the sustainability level. So I do believe in using multiple methods to treat water. Some people will bring chemicals and a UV light because it kind of gives them that like best of both worlds. If one doesn't work, they got a backup option. That's great and all. I would prefer having my backup option be a level 1 and a level 2, or a level 1 and a level 3, whatever combination works best for you, but I'd prefer to have multiple different levels. But the UV light is not super sustainable because if you run out of batteries or something happens to the electronic device, you are screwed, right? You cannot keep making more water with that device. So that's why a lot of these first methods are great like backup plans or great plans for short-term use, but not necessarily dependent on in a survival situation for a long-term use. Going forward, we're going to get into level 2, which is water filtering. Now you can create and find filters that filter all the way down to the bacterial level fairly easily. I do know that there are some companies that claim to create filters that can filter out viruses too. Those are much harder to find, much more rare, and so for all intents and purposes, we're going to just assume that they do not filter out viruses. But where I live in the world, viruses are not really a big problem. So if you live in an area where there's viruses, filters may not be a good level 2 option for you. But they do filter out sediments, minerals, other heavy metals that could be present that are not necessarily dissolved in water but can still damage your kidneys. So for that, they are great. Now they won't filter out salt. So for salt water, again, all of these methods, including filtering, is still practically useless. Now when it comes to filters, they're lightweight, they're fast, easy to use, depending on the type of filter that you have. And they're pretty, in my opinion, sustainable, right? You can last for months on a filter. Now, once a filter is clogged, you can't use it anymore. So that's why like something like a filter works great with a backup plan like boiling water or something else, because you can make your filter last longer by not depending on your filter for every single drink that you need in the wilderness. And at the same time, you're going to lower the percent and you lower the odds of kidney failure from other minerals that you could have been adding in your boiling water. So just some food for thought there as far as adding filtering as a secondary method to one of these other primary methods of treating water that you may prefer. So for example, I know somebody who prefers using UV light, but they carry a filter as a backup option. So just something that is available, some knowledge for you there. But yeah, not the most sustainable, but still pretty decent for even months on end. Now we're going to get into the distilling water. Now this is going to be the longest portion of the video, but just understand that this is the only category 3 way to purify water. You can remove salts, you can remove a variety of different heavy metals and minerals and things like that. And some people would argue that removing certain minerals is a bad thing. I would argue you can always add minerals into your diet if you're mineral deficient. It's very difficult to remove minerals out of your water if you have no means to do so if you're experiencing kidney failure. So understand that that is a main concern when you're out there in the wilderness, is you can't necessarily remove minerals. This is one way that you can. So if you need pure water to lighten the mineral load in your body, great way to do it. The next thing is it will kill bacteria, viruses, protists, so you're all good there. So using a still can work wonders in that sense. Now, sometimes using a still won't kill the viruses; it may just remove them, or in some certain circumstances, it doesn't necessarily remove them. So using a still in combination with something like boiling water is a great combination, or using a still in combination with UV light, great combination as well. I don't like using chemical treatments and a still. However, you could use chemical treatments and then distill your water. Now you have perfectly, bacteria-free water that's been distilled. However you're going to do it, whatever order you're going to do it in, make sure it works for you. But a still is a great way to remove salt from water and a variety of other things that could contaminate your water. As far as being portable and lightweight, fast and sustainable, they can be portable and lightweight. However, it would take a lot of time to use them. Like, you can use a plastic bag, wrap it around a tree limb, technically pretty portable, but you're now depending that tree is not poisonous, right? So kind of defeats the whole purpose of relying on you're now not in a category 3 level water, because there could be bacteria on that tree. You never know, right? So not really water treatment, more just water collection at that point. But still a viable way to get water. Now, there's a couple of ways to create solar stills with the earth, by using some type of a tarp or plastic bag set over a hill, rock in the middle, water cup in the bottom. You can even do this in the desert where I live. You can go to different areas where there's what I call like a temporary creek, right? Where the creek will run after the monsoon season or after the snow melt, but it is dry most of the year. You can dig down a couple feet into the dry lake bed or the dry riverbed, and you can find water that way. And you can create that solar still, have your cup in the bottom, it'll drip right in, pure drinking water. The next thing you can do is you can create your own still by using a couple of glass bottles, simply just tied together. That glass will end up like a tube. You heat up water on one side, you have the other side empty and cold. You can surround the other one with cold rocks if you wanted to help keep it cold and insulated, or you can even wrap it around with brush or different things. Anything to insulate that cold bottle to keep it cold will help it condense water, and that will give you pure drinking water. So either way you do it, again, it's going to be pure. I did mention that at the end of this video I would include some caveats to drinking water in urban environments and using a still. So the problem with using a still in urban environments is we have different methanols and ethanols, right? That different solutions that end up in just our environment in urban situations. We also have hydrochloric acid. There's a variety of other contaminants in urban settings that boil lower than water. These are liquids. So if you boiled them, they would end up in the condensed container, right? So what do? Well, you have to pour off the first 10% of any water that you're trying to boil out to remove any of those contaminants. Now, then you've got the 80% of your, liquid that is boiled out. That hopefully is non-poisonous, right? As long as we're using a quality water source, none of it would be poisonous. But we're hoping that the next 80% is all pure water. There are things that exist in urban settings, a variety of things. I'll just give you 2 examples. both petroleum and nitric acid exist in urban settings. They can contaminate water supplies if they're not properly disposed of. If we're talking about an urban survival setting, there could be situations where you have an unknown water source. You don't know what the contaminants are. And so these are things that actually boil at a higher temperature than water. So if you had a thermometer and you boiled water, you would actually see it would start boiling. If you had contaminated water where you had both hydrochloric acid, let's just say, and nitric acid in the water, and then you had water, you would see that there would be some bubbles starting to form before it hit that 212-degree mark, right? That is the hydrochloric acid boiling off and leaving the water. Then you would have the water boiling at a perfect 212 degrees. The water is then boiling off, right? And it's going into your container, right? With the hydrochloric acid, because in theory you haven't removed it yet, right? Then you have your nitric acid, right? Which after that, it'll boil at a significantly higher temperature. Actually, as the water goes down in concentration and the nitric acid increases in concentration, you will see that boiling temperature increase and increase and increase until it met the boiling temperature of the nitric acid, and then it would boil over and enter into your vessel that had all of your dissolved liquids, right? So yes, you wouldn't have any salt, you wouldn't have any minerals in there, you wouldn't have any bacteria. However, you would have concentrated poisons in your drinking water. Again, this is an extreme example. So if you were in an urban setting, you found water, you're pretty sure it's at least 90% or more pure water, but you're not sure about that last 10%. You're not sure if there's any other contaminants that could be in there affecting your water, and you're relying on distilling your water in order to drink it. You don't want to be concentrating any poisons into your water source. So good rule of thumb when you're distilling water that you're pretty sure is 90% or more water is to take the first 10%, remove it, take the last 10%, remove it. So you're doing your distilling in batches of 10, so that way you know that, okay, well, after this quantity of water is distilled, I know that, you know, this is blank amount percentage of the water, and I can go ahead and set that aside and toss it out. So one way to do it. However, again, in the context of wilderness survival, it's not super relevant. I would argue that if you're going to be going out hiking, camping, or anything like that, knowing the water quality and how to find quality water sources is more important than picking a category 1, 2, or 3 method in order to treat your water, right? Having a good quality water source from the get-go is more important than which method that you choose. Once you know the quality of the water that you're going into and whether or not it's reliable and things like that, then you can choose anything of any category within your preference in order to treat your water to just simply remove bacteria and protists from the water, and you're good to go. Like I said, I love using filtering. It's my favorite way to do it. And I know this video has gone on a lot longer, but I wanted it to be very detailed because I wanted to create something that was super valuable for you, the end user. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you thought there was anything about treating water in the wilderness that I didn't cover in this video, I would encourage you to write a comment and ask me a simple question. I have no problems actually helping you out and even showing you and putting any of these methods to the test to get you information that's going to be quality. Again, Davin Senvik here with The Catch Today, and like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.